Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad you can make it to the Understanding Behavior Live Study Hall. We've got a fun agenda packed for you today, but it could be even more fun. We are open up to suggestions for some further topics for this study hall at the moment. So if you're here live, go ahead and put those suggestions in. I have a few already that we're going to start off with, so no rush if you're feeling a little shy or not sure yet. So we are going to start today off with some practice questions. Then we're going to get into the different types of behavior analysis. So that's going to be comparing like EAB, ABA versus behavior analysis, like conceptual behavior analysis, etc. And also practice guided by behavior analysis. So it should be really cool. Yeah, AJ's recommending like a quick summary of equivalent class expansion. Okay. Yeah, if you want to expand a little bit more on that, are you talking about like stimulus equivalence training maybe? Or a little bit more? Or something else? Um, Equivalent class expansion, of course. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Crystal's asking for tact extensions. I'm going to be honest, I am very rusty on tact extensions. I don't think I can give you a solid info right now. I believe we have gone in through them in a previous study hall, maybe, but I'm going to skip over tact extensions today. The main reason why we'll skip over it is because I don't think they're a very likely topic to appear on your exam. So I think if it's very likely that everybody's going to have higher priority topics to cover than tact extensions. And again, I'm not very good at them either, so I will be humble there. Yeah, Gina wants to go over our multiple schedules of reinforcement. Yeah, we can go over that for sure. And then if you are interested, there is this Saturday, I am running the Tough Stuff mini course. You can find it on the shop. Really cool stuff. So this is on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over basic and compound schedules very thoroughly with a PowerPoint, experimental design, as well as stimulus equivalence training. So I know it's kind of like some of those hot topics that a lot of you are interested in. I think there's maybe 8 more seats left or so. Sign up today so you don't miss that. Again, that's this Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. Super exciting. Before we get into our content, I also have some other very exciting news. Today, for the past few months, I've been working very hard on a mock exam. And on my tracker here, I got to check off my last section. I saved experimental design for last today. And we're 0 questions remaining. So that means that there is going to be an understanding behavior mock exam coming out very soon. Look for it sometime next week. I have to do a round or 2 of edits on it and then also get set up with a new platform, but it's going to be really cool. And then shortly after that, the 2 courses that I currently have are going to be made into digital courses that you can take at your own pace as well. So if the live group setting intimidates you a little bit, this will be a great option. I'm really excited to get all these new products out for you guys. I could really use your support in sharing it, like once these things start getting released. Again, if you want a free, super beneficial way to support me, just telling other people about understanding behavior is the best way. All right. Just catching up with Chad. We have a suggestion for experimental design. Again, experimental design, come to the class on Saturday, or there is a live study hall that we spend 2 full hours on experimental design. So check that out in the live tab on the YouTube channel as well. Yeah. I'm glad you guys are excited. All right, well, let's get into the meat of our content. I had somebody recommend on Facebook, one of the students that I work with, she had posted this picture with a question and had some difficulty with it. So let's go ahead and check this one out first. So it looks like it was just like a little TikTok caption here, punishing myself with the big light until I clean my room. So the caption here, it says, let me see if I can actually make this a little bit better for y'all. Yeah, we'll do this for now. So the caption here, what it says, I saw this in an RBT group. RBTs are saying this is negative reinforcement, but it's adding an aversive to reinforce cleaning behavior. Okay, so two different potential analyses here. We have adding the light as positive. The behavior to measure is cleaning. Cleaning behavior increases when the aversive is presented. Adding light reinforces the occurrence of behavior. Positive reinforcement? All right, lots going on here. So whenever we get into like these chaotic situations, we really have to practice simplifying our contingency. So before we get too deep into it, I want to open it up to chat. Does anybody want to take a guess here? Like, what is this if we're looking at punishing myself with the big light until I clean my room? So we might have to look at multiple different behaviors here. So maybe like look at the cleaning the room and then also the turning on or off of the light. So if you have any thoughts on any of those behaviors or contingencies, let's see those in chat real quick. So if you have been to the fundamentals of behavior course, you would know that the first step that you need to do when analyzing a behavioral contingency is analyze what behavior are we looking at. So are we looking at the cleaning behavior? Are we looking at the turning the light on? Or are we turning the light off? Good, yeah, so Ken's asking that question right away, like what behavior are we increasing? Good, yeah, really great question to ask. We need to know what behavior the contingency is associated with before we can really get too deep into it. So Shelly's asking, is the light an aversive? Let's assume the light is aversive. So assume it's a really bright, annoying light and it's aversive, just to make this easy on us. All right, so again, what we need to do is we need to focus on the behavior of interest. So let's first look at turning the light on. So it's saying like that she's punishing herself with the big light until she cleans her room. So let's look at our first contingency. We're actually going to switch over to notes for this. Let me see if I can get a decent space here. Like I'm a little blind right now. Okay, yeah, so our first contingency that we have is turning the light on. So this one is not necessarily like related to her cleaning or not. We're just looking at this behavior. So what we have here is we have no light, we turn light on, and then our consequence is that we have the light. Let me zoom in on this too for y'all, make it a little bit bigger. All right, so there is our first contingency. Assuming that, again, like we mentioned before, the light is an aversive stimulus, then what kind of contingency do we have here, crew? Let's get that real quick. So aversive stimulus was added. So something added or removed, and then what would happen to the behavior, increase or decrease? Also, I'm curious, like, does anybody have like one light that's like really annoying in their house? They're just like, I'm just never gonna flick that switch because I hate this. I actually have the opposite. My closet used to be like a super bright light, but then it went out, and then I changed it, and it was like a really damp bulb. And I just kept the damp bulb in. Like, I can't even see in my closet, but whatever. All right, so people are saying increase here. So again, we were saying that the light, this is an annoying light. It's an aversive light. Say like obnoxiously bright light. All right. So if this is an obnoxiously bright light, then again, we assume that this was an aversive stimulus in this situation, then this would be positive punishment. So kind of like the simple logic behind this is like if our behavior results in something annoying, then we'll do it less. Let me squeeze this in for us. So that's positive punishment here. Again, we assume that the light was aversive. So when we look at the cleaning behavior isn't necessarily related to the light. Like if you clean, you can turn the light on or turn the light off, but that's a different behavior than the actual cleaning itself. And if I do the cleaning, the light just doesn't turn off automatically. So that's why this contingency is important, because we need to look at the behavior of actually turning on the light or not versus what happens when we clean. So if you've set this rule for yourself, like, I'm going to suffer until, we'll set the scenario here, just like, I'm gonna suffer this annoying light until I clean, and then I will allow myself to turn the light off. So this is our kind of our scenario, what the person's believing and thinking right now. So our behavior is cleaning up, and what we have here is like essentially we have like guilt about light being off, if it is off, and then if we clean, then this stimulus is immediately removed. So you would have like no guilt about light being off. So in here we can see that this is a direct change that results from cleaning, but again, cleaning doesn't turn the light off. So we would have to analyze turning the light off in a third contingency here. So let's go ahead and check this one out. Behavior, again, turn light off. And the consequence is pretty simple here. We're going to start with our antecedents that we have that annoying light. We turn the light off, and then clearly that light goes away. So I think that's why this situation was very tricky for Sarah and all the people that she was sharing it with, because there's so many different behaviors in this little meme. So my advice is that if you're struggling with these kinds of scenarios, that you really need to break it down, focus on what is the behavior first, because we need that to build the context around the behavior to see what actually is going on in the situation. So really simple scenario at first glance, but there's actually 3 different behaviors that we had to analyze there. All right, let's go. I'm just going to catch up on chat and keep these contingencies up for y'all. Let's see if we can get them all on the screen here. I'll make myself a little smaller too. Okay, so we have the first one. We saw this one as positive punishment because it's the presentation of the light. Let's go look at our next one. So this one is we have guilt about the light being off, and then there's we do the cleaning, and now we have no guilt about the light being off. What do you guys think about this one? Is this positive, negative, reinforcement, punishment, or is it extinction or recovery? What do you guys think? Okay, so yeah, I'm catching up on chat here. Crystal's mentioning, I would think it's not turning on the light that increases the cleaning behavior. It's the ability to turn the light off after the cleaning is done. So the thing is that, again, the cleaning isn't like a clear SD or S delta, or nor does it automatically produce the light going off. So like I can turn the light off whether my place is clean or not. Like that contingency is free operant, it always works. The only thing that really happens is like this guilt about feeling it. It's like, I mean, same thing with like exercising. Let's say like, oh, I can like get that pint of Ben and Jerry's if I go to the gym 4 out of 5 weekdays. So that again is a very similar situation. So I can still go and buy Ben and Jerry's. Like that's never not available to me. Like the store's like down the street, and they'll take my money. And I could do that whether I met my gym goal or not. The only thing that's really controlling your behavior is setting yourself up for this guilt. So like if you're eating that pint of Ben and Jerry's and you went to the gym like 1 or 0 times, you're gonna feel really bad about it. So that guilt was never removed. But if you did do your gym, then you can eat that ice cream guilt-free. So yeah, so AJ's asking like, is that more like self-management? So yeah, now we're looking at like self-management strategies. And one rule to hold on to is with self-management is that there is no such thing as self-reinforcement or self-punishment. So again, like if we're like providing us these kind of consequences for like rewarding us for doing things, then it's really just framed around the guilt around it, not the actual ability or production of these reinforcers or different consequences. All right, looks like we do have Sarah here in chat, and she's mentioning, but I thought the behavior is something that had to be measured. You can't measure that lazy behavior of not cleaning. A dead man could look lazy in the not cleaning. Yeah, so absolutely, we can't analyze not cleaning, and we didn't in any of these examples. So we analyzed turning the light on. We analyzed what happens if we do clean. So if we clean, we'll remove the guilt. If we were to not clean, even though it's not a behavior because that fails the dead man's test, then it's just that this would never be removed. We would still have that guilt if we had the light off. And then again, our third behavior is turning the light off. So you're absolutely right. We do want to check the dead man's test. We don't want to look at not cleaning at all. We want to look at what happens if we do clean. All right, yeah, if people want to go for the second one, I think, yeah, looks like Gina's got it already. So this one is another negative reinforcement contingency. So this is like the removal of the aversive guilt when the behavior occurs. And the way that this situation goes, like there's probably some rule-governed behavior behind this too, because like somebody who's nonverbal, for example, is not going to feel guilt about the light being off. There's just like, we'll turn it off. Like this contingency is going to be more powerful. All right, how about this last contingency? What do we have? Positive, negative, reinforcement, punishment? What do you guys think? So again, our contingency here is we have annoying light, we turn the light off, and now we have no annoying light. Again, we want to focus, is something added or removed? And then what happens to behaviors? Do we see increases or decreases? If you got a rationale, you know that makes you extra cool here. Cool, I'm liking the answers coming in. Looking good. Anybody want to try a rationale? Okay, Sarah's got a little one there. All right. Excellent. So this one is also negative reinforcement. So what we see is that stimulus was removed when the behavior occurred. So it was present in the antecedent, and then it was taken away once the behavior occurred. So again, stimulus removed. Stimulus was an aversive stimulus, and it's reinforcement because organisms like when aversive stimuli are removed. So likely to increase behavior. All right, very cool. Nice job on this one. Hopefully that makes sense. That was a good one. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing that. And if you guys ever run into tricky questions that you want to go over, you're more than welcome to drop a link in chat or contact me in any form before our study halls, and I'll try to squeeze them in for you. Perfect. All right, we're going to go through some of the recent Instagram questions and start focusing on these, checking them out a little bit. All right, so we've had some interesting ones. Aisha is working with Omar, a child with limited verbal skills. To work on him saying ball, she starts by reinforcing any vocalization that Omar makes, then gradually requires closer approximations to the word ball before providing it. Aisha's ultimate goal is for Omar to say ball when he wants to play with it. What technique is Aisha using? Our answers, chaining, shaping within topographies, shaping across topographies, or a task analysis. Let's see those answers in chat. Let's see those rationales. What are you thinking? Again, if you can provide a rationale, it's going to increase your fluency, get a deeper, more thorough learning opportunity for you. Highly recommend. That's how you get good at this, is keep trying to explain it and then taking the feedback when you do it incorrectly. And when you do it correctly, you know, I'll give you some praise if you have a killer rationale. Okay, so a lot of people are thinking shaping across topographies. Nobody's mentioned why yet, though. Also, if you haven't yet, really quick, easy way to support the channel, smash that like button real fast. Takes half a second, pushes this out to more people. Thank you so much for everyone who has already. All right, it looks like Kim is our first one with the rationale. Let's see. B, because there is one behavior saying ball, and she is shaping the approximations within the word. Okay, so saying that like all like the approximations leading up to ball, those are the same thing. So what do you guys think? Is like ball the same as ball? Is that the same behavior? Thank you so much for Kim giving a shot at the rationale. Okay, Crystal's saying shaping the form of the answer, not another dimension like magnitude, answering C, shaping across topographies. Wow, Crystal, I really like that. Really nice job. Let's go ahead and review this, everyone. The answer is C, shaping across topographies. The reason why is just as Crystal mentioned, the form of the behavior is changing across the shaping process. So ba is a different behavior than ball, and we're, again, shaping the approximations up to that. And the way that we're doing that is using differential reinforcement. So when better topographies emerge, something closer to ball, we'll stop reinforcing the previous topography, and then we'll shift reinforcement to that new topography. So using differential reinforcement with shaping across topographies because the topography is changing throughout the shaping process. All right, is that starting to make sense, everyone? I know that's a tough one. Shaping within and across are very tricky. I really like how Crystal mentioned the other half of it too. So it's not shaping a response dimension. That's what shaping within topographies is. So it will shape a response dimension such as frequency, rate, duration, latency, something like that. Sure. Yeah, Gina's has requesting for a definition of differential reinforcement. I'd love to provide that. We'll add it to our notes. We've got like our mini notes that like went haywire today. It's kind of fun. I don't know. But differential reinforcement, this is shifting a reinforcement from one topography to another topography. So you can think about it as like more reinforcement for a replacement topography and less or no reinforcement for like previously demonstrated topographies. So again, think about differential reinforcement. The differential part is that there's just an extinction element to it. And again, that can be either less or no reinforcement. It doesn't always need to be pure extinction. We just want to kind of shift the tides of reinforcement to the response that we want to see. Cool, I'm glad that's clicking. Perfect. Let's go ahead and check out another question. Oh yeah, I like this one, so let's check it. Especially since we were on the topic of basic contingencies anyway. So whenever Pancake the puppy nips at his owner's hand during play, the owner immediately says no in a firm tone and stops playing with him for a few minutes. Pancake starts to nip less often as a result of this new strategy. What basic contingency is the owner applying to reduce Pancake's nipping behavior? Also, if you have a pet with a fun name, I like need to hear it in chat. I love fun name pets. So this was actually modeled from my friend Patrick's pet. He actually has a cat named Pancake. One of my students told me of they used to have a bulldog named Meatball, and I was just like already in love. So anyway, do the question, but if you have a fun pet name, I want to hear it. Also, Sarah's got kimchi and anyang. Oh, I have some good friends with an anyang. He's a very hype, energetic boy. Oh, the rescues from Korea. That's so cool. Salem and Deku. Oh, Deku. That's so cute. All right, so a lot of people are going for C right now. love that, Sarah. AJ's got a killer rationale there. Gina, I kind of see where you're going. Doreen has Ohana, which means family, all. We love it. My pet's name is Lexi. She's a really good dog. She's sleeping right next to me. Fun fact, my dog and my girlfriend are both named Lexi. So she's actually coming over probably like soon. So I know, I promise it wasn't like an intentional thing that I set up. All right. Well, I'm loving the answers here. Shout out to AJ with a killer rationale. Kim, I love that too. Yeah, Gina, I love your expansion there. Cool. Yeah, Crystal, I like your extra thought there. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Chad. I know. I feel like I'm the only person in the world that like their girlfriend and my dog have the same name. um, but yeah, let's get back to the question. This one is C, positive punishment. So when we see the immediate result of the contingency, of the nipping behavior is that the owner says no. So that's something that was added to the environment. And then we saw the decrease in this behavior. That's going to be our punishment component. So this one was a little tricky. It said no in a firm tone and stops playing with him for a few minutes. So there is kind of like something taken away there too. What we want to focus on is the more immediate outcome. And it's also possible that no and the removal of the play are paired together. So the presentation of the no is still the controlling element due to the pairing of that. But Crystal had a really good thing, a good process to mention here. She mentioned it would be interesting to do a component analysis to see if it's the no or the removal of the playing that is decreasing the behavior. And absolutely, I totally agree. So what we might look at there is these things in isolation. So we would want to unpair no with the removal of the playing in order to get a fair assessment. But in this one, since we're focusing on the more immediate outcome of this, the presentation of the no is going to be the thing that decreases the behavior. And we're going to call this one positive punishment. Doreen say I should rename her pet. She's 6 years old. I'm not renaming my Lexi girl. And who knows? All right. Well, let's do maybe one or two more of these questions. We did get to question 69 this week, so clearly I had to write a dirty question. Well, anyway, check this one out. Taylor and Cameron are happily together in a relationship, but sometimes have different sexual preferences. Taylor enjoys 69ing, but Cameron only likes it sometimes. Taylor figured out that if it's been about 2 weeks since the last time they 69, that the next request usually gets accepted. What type of schedule of reinforcement is Taylor asking to 69 on? Cover up these answers. And if you want to be really cool, the way to be really cool right here is to tell me why it's not one schedule over another schedule. Any other thoughts here? Okay, so we have one person saying variable range, one person saying variable interval. VT is a real thing. That stands for a variable time schedule. That is a real thing. So let's redefine these. So a ratio schedule, this is when the reinforcement is contingent on the number of responses that occur. And then the interval is a unit of time. Time schedules are also a unit of time. So if you want to be like the coolest person ever, tell me like which one it is, either A, C, or D, and why it's not the other two. So that's going to get you like all the cool points. Yeah, so Doreen's asking, isn't time NCR? So yeah, that time schedules usually are associated with NCR. So it's just like given after a specific amount of time. Oh, Gina! Gina just earned wicked cool points. Let's look at this. Gina mentioned time schedules don't have to do with a response. They're given to the person regardless. Perfect. So yeah, time schedules do not require any response here. So when we're looking at the situation, if we're trying to contrast between time schedules and the other ones, is a response required? All right, there is one more opportunity for like wicked cool points. Tell me why... Actually, I don't want to give it away yet, so I'll say that in a sec. But there is one more cool opportunity for cool points right now. So yeah, Doreen, that would be a good description of a time schedule. She says when a specific time passes, you give reinforcement without a contingency. So I'm assuming, let's say, like without the behavior occurring. Good. So that's exactly what a variable time is. So now you either need to rule that in or out. Was it given non-contingently? Any more thoughts here? Question 69. It just had to be a dirty one. I'm like, I saw the number. I'm like, yep, here we go. Ooh, AJ is asking a very good question. Isn't the man a contingency? So yeah, the man does create a contingency here. So it looks like Taylor does still have to request to 69. So it might not be given non-contingently here. Maybe contingent on something. Or no, it's contingent on requesting. That's our behavior. Good. All right. Crystal has earned the second slot for cool points. Let's look at what she has to say. Variable because it's about interval, because it's about 2 weeks, and so that's what makes it variable. An interval because it's about 2 weeks, so a unit of time, and there has to be a request before it occurs. So answer to this one is C, the VI 2-week schedule. So again, let's break that down. The about 2 weeks, this switches this from from fixed to variable, since it says about 2 weeks instead of exactly 2 weeks. And what we're looking at is that the request must occur after this period of time. So she waits about 2 weeks and then requests, and then it gets accepted. So that's the important difference between variable interval and variable time schedules. Variable time would just be like, Cameron just goes like, yo, let's 69 after about 2 weeks. Variable interval is that it's been about 2 weeks, Taylor has to ask, and then Cameron would reinforce that request. All right, so if you are struggling a little bit with schedules of reinforcement, again, I just want to have that reminder, the Tough Stuff mini course is this Saturday. $50 seat for schedules, basic and compound, experimental design, and stimulus equivalence training. It's going to be a blast. All right, let's move on to some of our topics so don't get too lost here. Okay, so I'll make sure to throw those notes in elsewhere, but we wanted to get to types of behavior analysis tonight. Let's see if our screen looks good. Yeah, it looks not too shabby here. All right. So we've got our 4 different types of behavior analysis. So our first is like our philosophical or like conceptualization behavior analysis. We have our experimental analysis of behavior. We have applied behavior analysis. You may have heard of that one as ABA. I will make a quick note here is that we're probably going to like ruin your life and what the definition of ABA actually is for you a little bit here. And then our last one is practice guided by behavior analysis. All right, so somebody was requesting this in my Facebook group the other day, and I usually will look for clips where we've discussed these topics before, and I noted that this one was not there, so this is one that I threw on today's list. I believe someone in the group also recommended it. All right, so philosophical or conceptualization of behavior analysis. This is like our philosophy and study about behavioral principles. So with this, we can do like theoretical analyses. So like it's like within the radical behavioral framework, how do certain variables or like IVs affect behavior? So this is looking at things like, hey, if we put like an SD here that signals this, how is that going to affect behavior? If we were to create an MO, like what point does like aggressive behavior occur? Like what kind of stimuli and what kind of MOs like create aggression? So like thinking about like some of those things and just using like our terms and what we know about them to make our hypotheses. That's what the philosophical and conceptualization of behavior analysis is all about. So this is what I nerd out about. Like this is, I'm a little different from other behavior analysts where like this is what interested me in behavior analysis and like made me obsess over the topic, especially in grad school. Because I love just thinking about like determinism, how environmental inputs determine behavior, and really like theory crafting and breaking things down. All right, next up is the experimental analysis of behavior. So this is when we do highly controlled experiments with subjects, often in operant chambers or Skinner boxes. And then what this is, the reason why we do this is that we test and explore like new principles of behavior through these highly controlled tests. So we form what the philosophy and the concepts are through our tests in these really highly controlled settings. There's a really cool article in the Cumulative Record, if you have this book by Skinner, where he discusses like how he discovered operant conditioning and reinforcement, etc. And it's really like the first demonstrations of these experimental analyses of behavior where we see our single subject designs come out, and he's testing like these very clear variables of reinforcement. Like, does this get him to do the behavior more frequently with these rats? This is most often done with rats and pigeons, but there are some examples. There are a few examples of EAB conducted with humans. The reason why EAB is really tricky to do with humans is because we're very verbal, and that usually fucks everything up. So you can't really have a really highly controlled experiment a lot of the time with highly verbal individuals because they're going to be thinking about and analyzing what's going and based off of their previous behavioral history. So that's why we often do these in these really highly controlled settings with nonverbal organisms. All right, let me catch up on chat real quick. Doreen saying EAB equals lab. Yeah, I like that. It's a good connection. And then philosophical equals theories and studies. ABA, socially significant behavior. ABA, socially significant behavior, practice guided. Those not in the field want to implement ABA. A little bit off there, Doreen, actually. We'll get to the rest of those. And Crystal's asking, is conceptual the same as radical behaviorism as it says on the task list? So yeah, I would say like radical behaviorism is one conceptualization of behavior analysis. I mean, also say methodological behaviorism is another conceptualization of behavior analysis, but pretty outdated. Pretty much every behaviorist is a radical behaviorist. All right, let's move on to ABA. Like I said, this might be a little bit of a world breaker. It might be a little bit differently defined here than how you're used to seeing it. So when we're referring to ABA in this context, what we're referring to is that this is the research using behavioral techniques to modify behavior of like that's socially significant. So yeah, Doreen, you had a lot of good components there that were targeting like socially significant behavior. But the really key thing you need to focus on here is that this is only the research. So this is us expanding in Java, like our using our tools to target these socially significant issues. This could be like increasing like happiness of animals in zoos. So that's a socially significant issue that we can use behavioral techniques for. But again, it's this focusing on the research side of it all. What we usually refer to as ABA is actually more commonly practiced guided by behavior analysis. So this is the applications of evidence-based tools that have been discovered through ABA to target socially significant issues. So this is what we usually do. This is what most BCBAs do. This is what most RBTs do. Like we're not like reinventing differential reinforcement. We're not doing usually like non-expanding the research for differential reinforcement. But there's so much research on this technique already that we can use it to help out with other socially significant issues. So what we usually refer to as just ABA or like ABA therapy under this kind of context is more commonly practiced guided by behavior analysis. To reiterate, applied behavior analysis really only refers to the research that is used to either replicate previously identified evidence-based tools or to discover new evidence or find new evidence for tools to change behavior in some way that, again, socially significant behaviors. All right. Well, I knew, again, yeah, this is kind of one of those trickier, misleading topics. How do we feel here? Anybody want any more review of this or examples or any questions before we move on to equivalence class expansion? And then I believe it was AJ that mentioned the equivalent class expansion. I have an idea where I might go with this, but if you had a little bit more input on the direction there, that would be super appreciated. All right. Well, it looks like we are good on the different types of behavior analysis. Let's hop into this next one. So equivalent class expansion. So essentially like an equivalence class. It's a set of stimuli that all represent the same things. Okay, so yeah, AJ's saying like need more practice discerning it in questions. Okay, well, I believe we did actually go over this briefly last week. If you have a question, go ahead, find and post the link there. And then I think we'll save this for now, but if you have a question, we'll totally get to it if you can post a link for that. I'm going to move on to multiple schedules of reinforcement. Again, if you wanted to cover either of these topics very extensively, Tough Stuff class on Saturday is going to be rockin'. Let's get into multiple schedules of reinforcement. So this is a successively presented schedule. So what is a successively presented schedule? Awesome. Yeah, AJ, I'll see you there. Excellent. So yeah, we'll have plenty of practice questions with that tomorrow on Saturday as well. So before we get too ahead of ourselves, this is a compound schedule of reinforcement. And really all that means is that we have 2 or more schedules of reinforcement are combined in some way. All right. Yeah, Gina, I love that. So Gina's defining successfully presented schedule. This means one schedule is presented after another schedule. So, and that's in opposition to simultaneously presented schedules where multiple schedules of reinforcement are available at the same time. All right, well, let's go over the features of a multiple schedule. So again, first off, it's a successfully presented schedule. These schedules target a single response class. So if we have different schedules, let's say like a VR5 and an FI 60-second, those are going to target the same exact behavior. So that will always be the case for the multiple schedule. If you see a situation where there are different behaviors, then you know that it's not a multiple schedule. Next thing is that these, the schedules are signaled by an SD. So there's a stimulus that is associated with each schedule. And then lastly is how the schedules change. So these schedules change after a period of time or and or randomly. So I like to look at like FCT for these. If we have a multiple schedule of FCT, let's say we're focusing on our, let's say we're looking at asking for to play, for example. So that's our FCR, asking to play. And we could have that associated with 2 different schedules. So an SD, S delta, so let's say we have a green card, then we will play with him. A request will be reinforced. If we have a red card, then the request would not be reinforced. So again, the only behavior is the request to play. It's signaled by the red card, green card. Only one of those is present at a time, so it's either green card or red card condition. It's never both. And then the schedules would change after a period of time. So for example, we might have 1 hour of green card and then 1 hour of red card, or those values could be different as you prefer or what would be designed for the individual. All right, perfect. AJ, any luck on finding a question for us to review? Doreen had one question related to our stimulus equivalence as well that we can knock out pretty fast. So difference between transitivity and stimulus equivalence. Transitivity is like a relationship is derived with what I like to call like the 2 legs makes the third pattern. So in this one, we're usually just looking at a single relationship. Just to draw that real quick, because I feel bad not drawing it. I feel like it's going to do so much. So if we train one leg, we train another leg. Transitivity would be if we have like our either of these third leg relationships get derived. So that's real quick, transitivity. We have stimulus equivalence. This is when all 6 relationships in a stimulus equivalence triangle have been demonstrated. So if they've shown all of the relationships, all 6 of these, so both directions on each side, then stimulus equivalence would occur. You would also have to focus on if the question's asking about like, how did this relationship form? Or was it asking about what occurred in this scenario? So if all 6 relationships are demonstrated and it's asking about the entire scenario, that's when you're going to select stimulus equivalence as the answer. If it's asking about just the one of these relationships, so this one or this one, then that answer is going to be transitivity for the single relationship. So Dorian's asking, is it transitivity only the third leg? So it's this pattern of like 2 legs makes the third leg. So it's when we've taught these 2 legs and now we see this third leg get derived. That's transitivity. All right, looks like AJ has a question. Let's check it out real quick, and then we're gonna wrap it up today. All right, so Sasha's dream is to be a translator for the UN. She currently is able to speak fluent English, Portuguese, and French. If she wants to learn Spanish, which of the following concepts would best help her accomplish her goal? Yeah, it looks. I think YouTube only lets you do so many words in your message. Oh, good. And then what were the answer options there? All right, so I think what they're trying to get at is like stimulus equivalence training. So kind of like learning the equalness between English words and Portuguese words. So like one in English means un in French. So making that connection, and you would also want to do um, see the opposite way too. Is like if I say un, does that mean one? And also, like, if I say one, does that mean un? So kind of flipping both contingencies there. Yeah, so answer options there were stimulus generalization, behavioral momentum, TAC training, and then equivalent class expansion. So, yeah, the correct answer here is going to be D, the equivalent class expansion for sure. Because we want to teach these in efficient ways. So all the connections between like the different words in the language, and this is going to allow for more derived relations. So we don't always have to just like get each word by word with TAC training. If we focus on actually creating more of these equivalence classes, then we can be more efficient with our training process. Does that make sense? All right, well, I love it. Thank you guys for all of your participation today. Again, I'm really excited for everything going on. Understanding behavior stuff is going to be starting to move pretty quickly. And again, I really just need your support in sharing the word, spreading the word to anyone you see on the different Facebook groups, and to your friends that are also studying for the exam. If you are interested in signing up for the Tough Stuff course, I put the link in there as well. So check that out. We're running this Saturday from 11 a.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern. And then, yeah, the class is going to be freaking badass. So come along. And then mock exam is coming next week. Stay on the lookout for that. And hopefully I'll see you Saturday. But if not, hope to see you in the next study hall. Should be a fun one. Next week's going to be crazy and cool. All right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, AJ. I really appreciate all your referrals. I've been seeing it out there. Cannot thank you enough. You guys are the best. I appreciate you all. Happy studying. Have a great weekend. See some of y'all on Saturday. Take care. Bye.